Hello everyone. So now let's talk about the blockchain applications. Starting with the first one, let me pick an example that's very close to my heart. Trust me, it's coffee. And my life, I believe, legit depends on coffee. So let's use coffee as a case study because if blockchain can make my cup of coffee more trustworthy, more transparent, then it can work wonders for every product out there. So let me walk you through how a circular supply chain works, and we'll be using the farming of the coffee beans as an example. So think about the cup of coffee, think about the coffee. Let's say, think about the coffee you buy at your local grocery store. And behind that cup, if I tell you, there could be a chain of people, a chain of processes, a chain of promises. And this model shows us how blockchain and circular supply thinking can make the journey more sustainable, more transparent. So we all know, right? It all begins with the farmer. The farmer is who? The farmer is the producer, right? He plants crops, coffee beans in our case, without cutting down the forests. So this is where sustainability starts. He makes a promise that, okay, I'm going to produce foods, I'm going to produce goods, but I'm not going to hamper the planet. I have a promise of protecting the planet. And when the farmer harvests the produce, there's a record. There's a record on the blockchain proof that no harm was done to the forest. Now, when it's on the blockchain, it cannot be deleted. So this isn't just a claim, it's demonstrated, it's verified. And because blockchain underpins the system, this data can't be faked or tampered with, right? The produce is then sent up the supply chain. And when it's sent up to the supply chain, it means trucks carry it to the large suppliers, as you can see in in the pinned up deck. And then the suppliers, they distribute it further to the retailers. Eventually, it makes its way to your supermarket's shelf, and then finally to your shopping cart, and then finally it gets to your home where it gets brewed up, and hence you get a cup of coffee in your hand. So far, this may sound like a regular supply chain. You've just put in blockchain, just the records are on the blockchain, and this is a normal blockchain. This is a normal supply chain. Why are you calling it circular? There should be something like, why is it circular? It's because if I talk about circular, what comes to my mind is you start from here, you move the entire circle, and you end it up here. But here you started with the farmer, you started with the producer, you ended up with the consumer. I don't see a meeting point. I don't see these 2 points meeting. Then how do you call this a circular supply chain? So what is happening is, once I am the consumer, I buy that coffee. I like that coffee. I have the history of entire, how this coffee bean was produced, how and what are the steps till this coffee bean took until it made it to my cup. And I can actually see the journey of that entire product from the forest to my cup. And because it's all verified, it's on the blockchain, I know with certainty that my coffee was farmed sustainably. And now, I am very happy that, oh my God, in a way, I helped the planet. I want to appreciate the farmer's work who did it on behalf of me, who made an effort to protect forest, and who made it takes courage to farm sustainably because it's a little more effort putting operation, it's a more cost putting operation, right? So there's an app, right, through which I'm seeing the journey of my entire bean. I want to send him a tip directly to the farmer. So now when I'm sending a tip directly to the farmer, since it's a blockchain, that money does not has to go through a middleman, does not have to go through vague accounts. It directly goes to him. Now you'll ask me, how does it go directly to him? How do you know that it goes to the farmer? Because there's a biometric system in place that makes sure that nobody else in the farmer can get that money. Are you getting it? So, it is more like the money is secured to his identity. So, you know that your appreciation, the tip that you paid in form of appreciation for the farmer who planted everything so sustainably, has actually reached them. This is a way of selling stories and not just products, not just commodities. What's the result? The consumer, I see transparency. The farmer gets both fair payment for the produce and extra incentives for farming sustainably. The supply chain becomes circular now because this consumer has directly reached back to this producer. They're getting the feedback. If anything goes wrong, I can tell him directly that, hey, this was not right. You can make this more right, right? Maybe it was right, but you can make it more better. And in these ways, I'm directly linked to him. What is this is going to build? This is going to build trust. This is going to build accountability. So the next time, whenever you're going to sip your coffee or buy any product, buy any commodity, just imagine how powerful it could be if every supply chain worked like this. Transparent, fair, circular. A system where you don't just consume commodities, where you consume stories and you also contribute to the change in a way. I hope this is understood by everyone. And yeah, if you have any questions, any doubts, please use the comment section, please. Okay. Next, let's come to linear supply chain, right? We've already studied about circular supply chain, so linear supply chain is going to be a very easy peasy task for you. So yeah, let me walk you through how blockchain is completely transforming the supply chain transparency. Imagine the journey now of a chicken, right? It starts right at the farm. Farmers are going to register their items. For this case, I'm taking the example of the chicken. That registration immediately is going to create a digital twin of the product, and you can see a barcode, right? Which is securely logged into the blockchain. Now, I cannot log the chicken into the blockchain, right? I have to log its digital identity into the blockchain, and that is a barcode that says this chicken, right? It is correctly mapped. This chicken is mapped to this barcode, and this is stored in the blockchain. Next, what is going to happen? The producers are going to step in. They're going to verify, certify the items, whether it could be quality checks, it could be safety standards, compliance measures, depending on the items that are there. And every verification is going to be digitally stamped on the blockchain, ensuring it cannot be altered and it cannot be faked. So now, if this chicken has passed this and this measure, we know it. And if it has not passed, you and me know that, right? And from there, distributors are going to handle the delivery. Each handoff, each movement can be tracked, logged, because it is logged into the blockchain. This means the physical flow of goods from farm processing to the transport to to your supermarkets is mirrored by a digital flow of data that is permanently secured, because nobody can alter that data. And when those items, they're going to finally reach the retailers, whether it's eggs, whether it's, let's say, sausages, whether it's, let's say, packaged chicken, they already carry a complete history record in the blockchain. And retailers are not going to just sell a product. In this way, they're going to sell stories, they're going to sell trust, they're going to sell transparency. And who would not like it? If I know the entire story of something I'm eating, how good is that? It makes me feel so good about that. And here's the real magic for the consumers, with just a scan on their phone, or maybe anything else, with just putting in some code on the phone, they can instantly backtrack the entire journey of the product, from the farm it came, from the farmer it came, to the quality checks it passed, to when those quality checks were passed, to the route it traveled. Every step, you think of any step, and that step is visible, that step is verifiable. And and isn't just about food traceability. It's about creating an ecosystem where every stakeholder, because you are a stakeholder here, farmers, producers, distributors, retailers, consumers, everybody is connected through a single source of truth, that is the blockchain. you know you don't have any middlemen. There is nobody who can cheat you on, right? So this is how we bridge the gap between physical goods and the digital trust. So if every stakeholder is involved, everybody shares the same pain, everybody shares the same gain. Do you understand that? Yeah, so we'll be taking another applications in the next video. For the time being, if any doubts, please post in the comment section, or you can also use the Google Forms that are attached. You can tell me about any content you want me to take up next, anything you want me to take up next. So yeah, thank you so much. Bye bye.